face and voice of Africa. The story of resurgent and burgeoning Africa is here, only on the Pulse of Africa channel. Pulse of Africa, the face and voice of Africa.
Hello and welcome. I'm Tensei Gabeao and this is POA News. Stay with us for more in-depth coverage of stories shaping our region and the world. First, Malaysia's Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim arrived in Nairobi, marking the start of his official visit to Kenya following his participation in the G20 summit in South Africa. He was received at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport by Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs and Diaspora Affairs, Musalia W. Mudavadi. The visit comes on the heels of a three-day official trip to Ethiopia, where Prime Minister Anwar held discussions with Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed on a range of bilateral and multilateral issues. During his stay in Addis Ababa, the two nations signed several cooperation agreements aimed at expanding collaboration. During his two-day visit in Kenya, Prime Minister Anwar is expected to hold high-level talks with President William Ruto, focusing on strengthening the long-standing relationship between Kenya and Malaysia and exploring new avenues for partnership. Musalia W. Mudavadi said on social media post that Kenya and Malaysia share more than 60 years of close cooperation in trade, education, tourism, and investment. Our discussions will focus on strengthening this long-standing partnership, especially in affordable housing and digital economy. Malaysian companies have shown strong interest in contributing to Kenya's housing and infrastructure agenda, and we look forward to expanding collaboration in these transformative sectors. Tourism is another key frontier, Mudavadi said, noting that both countries are exploring ways to work together in promoting our destinations, enhancing culture exchanges, and jointly positioning ourselves on the global stage through partnerships with international organizations. Brazil's presidency at COP30 concluded with a compromise climate deal that aims to boost finance for poor nations struggling with global warming, but notably omitted any mention of the fossil fuels driving it. The accord was sealed after 2 weeks of continuous negotiations, with Brazil hoping to showcase global unity despite the absence of a U.S. official delegation. The agreement secured in overtime highlighted deep divisions on the future direction of climate action, while the head of the UN Climate Secretariat, Simon Steele, praised delegates for fighting against denial and division. Several countries expressed frustration that the deal lacked stronger plans for reining in greenhouse gases and addressing fossil fuels. Latin American neighbors Colombia, Panama, and Uruguay objected to approving a technical text alongside the main deal, arguing that ignoring fossil fuels went against science. Colombia's negotiators stated that a consensus imposed under climate denialism is a failed agreement. These objections were countered by Russia's delegate, who was later criticized by Latin American countries for offensive remarks. Despite the controversy over fossil fuels, the summit produced a positive outcome on climate finance. The deal calls for rich nations to at least triple the money they provide to developing countries for adapting to a warm world by 2035. Developing nations urgently require these funds to cope with existing impacts like rising sea levels and extreme weather events. An overnight impasse between EU and the Arab group of nations over fossil fuels pushed the talks past their deadline. To achieve consensus on the main deal, the Brazilian presidency issued a separate side text on fossil fuels and forest protection, keeping the continuous issue out of the headline agreement.
They shaped history. They inspired generations. They are the notables. Join us as we honor Africa's greatest minds and trailblazers, the notables, celebrating Africa's icons.
Speaking at the G20 Leader Summit in Johannesburg, South Africa, South Korean President Lee Jae-myung strongly advocated for global frameworks that ensure equal access to artificial intelligence technologies for all nations. Emphasizing that AI's advancements must offer fair opportunities, the president placed the issue of technological equity at the forefront of the Global Economic Cooperation Forum, which was hosted on African soil. President Lee stressed the importance of inclusivity, stating that the development of AI should not deepen disparities, but must provide opportunities for all nations and all people. His call for broader, more equitable access to AI is particularly relevant to the African continent, where technological and digital infrastructure gaps risk leaving many nations behind in the coming AI revolution. He urged for establishment of a stable, mutually beneficial supply chain where mineral-rich countries, many in Africa, share the benefits with importing countries. The principle directly addresses the historic power imbalance in global resource trade, positioning African nations as key partners in supply chain of the future. Underscoring Seoul's commitment to the continent, President Lee highlighted the launch of the Korean-Africa Critical Minerals Cooperation Initiative. This initiative, alongside with Korea's role as chair of the Mineral Security Partnership, demonstrates a tangible effort to promote collaboration and value addition in the mineral sector across Africa. The push for equitable technology was echoed by other leaders, cementing Africa's central theme of inclusivity at the Johannesburg Summit. French President Emmanuel Macron, during his African tour stop in Libreville, Gabon, declared his country's commitment to reorienting its relationship with the continent. After meeting with Gabonese counterpart Brice Oligui Nguema, Macron stated the supports win-win partnerships that are respectful of everyone's interests. He emphasized the fundamental shift in approach, asserting that Africa can no longer be a continent of simple resource extraction. The shift away from mere resource extraction requires building new cooperation models in diverse areas, including energy and infrastructure development, to genuinely serve the interest of African nations. The French Development Agency is actively involved in the vital renovation of the Trans-Gabon Railway, which is crucial for the nation's economy and transport. Gabonese President Nguema confirmed that Macron's visit symbolized a mutual desire for a new start to build cooperation founded on trust, dialogue, and equality in a win-win perspective. Now to business news. The United Arab Emirates has announced a massive $1 billion investment to significantly expand artificial intelligence infrastructure and services across the African continent. Unveiled at the G20 summit in Johannesburg, the initiative is designed to help African nations achieve their national development goals by leveraging cutting-edge AI technology. The new program, titled the AI for Development Initiative, was introduced by UAE Minister of State Saeed bin Mubarak Al Hajiri. It will focus on integrating advanced AI tools into several critical sectors, including education, healthcare, and climate adaptation, underscoring the practical application of the technology to address pressing societal changes. Minister Al-Hajiri stressed that UAE's global view on AI, stating, "We consider AI not just a future industry, but a cornerstone of humanity's future." The UAE is committed to accelerating innovation and enhancing productivity on a global scale, specifically emphasizing its dedication to developing responsible and inclusive AI that ensures benefits are accessible to everyone. This investment further deepens the UAE's strong economic ties with Africa. Economic collaboration between the UAE and Africa has been rapidly increasing. Bilateral trade reached approximately $107 billion in 2024, marking a 28% increase from the previous year. Furthermore, Emirati investment in Africa totaled over $118 billion between 2020 and 2024, highlighting the UAE's growing strategic and economic partnership with the continent. The United States has officially lifted the 15% tariff previously imposed on Ghana's cocoa and wide array of other agricultural products effective November 13, 2025. This major economic and diplomatic victory for Ghana was confirmed by Foreign Minister Samuel Okudesto Ablakwa. following a new executive order signed by President Donald Trump. The reversal provides significant economic relief to Ghana, one of West Africa's most vital export economies. The tariff had applied to goods including cashew nuts, avocados, bananas, pineapples, and assorted peppers, but the primary benefit is seen in the global renowned cocoa industry. Ghana is the world's second largest cocoa producer, with the U.S. being its largest chocolate and cocoa product importer. With the country exporting an average of 78,000 metric tons of cocoa beans to the U.S. annually, the tariff removal is expected to generate an additional $60 million in annual revenue. This financial boost comes at a critical time as the Ghanaian government seeks new revenue resources amid challenging global financial conditions. The cancellation is widely viewed as a sign of recalibrated U.S.-Ghana diplomatic relations. The tariff reversal follows months of dialogue. Next, let's check the current weather forecast. Thanks for joining us on Pulse of Africa News. Keep following us for more stories that matter across the continent.